Hey everyone, how's it going? It's Metal, and welcome back to the channel. So, I haven't reviewed a video game in 2 years, so I really need to get right back on the horse of things and talk about gaming again. From the Sega Genesis to the PS4, I have been a gamer my whole life. I loved games. Ever since I was like 5, 6 years old, I have been a huge gamer. And I love survival horror games in particular, and I love all different kinds of games. But survival horror is definitely that really puts me in that just uncomfortable feeling and really frightening feeling, and I love it about games and movies, really. Yeah, and Resident Evil 2 Remake is definitely no exception to that. I know this game is completely irrelevant to talk about right now, but it's been out ever since January 25th of 2019, so it's been a while since this game has been out, but I have completed this game a couple of different times. I loved this game. It was amazing. It was a great overall improvement of the original classic from 1998 on the original PlayStation. Yeah, this is an amazing game, and I loved everything about it, and I can't wait to talk about this game with you guys. Right now I'm playing through the hardcore difficulty right now, and I am getting my ass handed to me right now because it's so hard. It's definitely a struggle, for sure. Let's just put it that way. So let's get right into it, guys. Yeah, so in the Resident Evil 2 Remake, you have the option to either play as Leon S. Kennedy or Claire Redfield. And both campaigns have two completely different perspectives of the story, and both stories kind of just intertwine and connect with each other towards the end of the game. And so if you're playing through the game as Leon, you have the option with either like Leon A, Leon B, or Claire A or Claire B, you know, depending on which one you choose first. My first playthrough was actually with Leon A. That was my first playthrough of the game, and it was a lot of fun. And so throughout Raccoon City, rather, you know, you're playing through the game as Leon or Claire. They both have two different perspectives. And if you're playing as Leon, you are in Raccoon City, and the police station, of course, and you run into Claire, and she's trying to find her brother Chris Redfield, and they both separate in the game. And Claire's on the other side of the police station, and you're like in the police station if you're playing through the game as Leon. You eventually run into this character, Ada Wong. Basically, Ada Wong is a part of the FBI, and you kind of get the idea throughout the entirety of the game that she is a part of this government organization known as Umbrella, and she's trying to get her hands on the T-Virus. It's basically up to you as Leon to kind of figure out what Ada Wong is up to and what does she want to do with the T-Virus. Now, you wrap up that storyline and you go into Claire's campaign, and she's trying to find her brother Chris Redfield, who has been missing for quite some time. And then later on throughout the game, you eventually run into Sherry, and you have to pretty much, you know, protect her. You know, you run into her, you befriend Sherry, and you have to protect Sherry from the William monster. It just so happens to be Sherry's father. It's kind of the storyline of that arc, and it just kind of goes on from there. Now, the big tyrant in the game, known as Mr. X, whenever you first encounter with him, you first make eye contact with this guy. Man, he is so big and buff, and he's the kind of person that can really crush your skull in if he really wanted to. If you don't try to run away from him, and if you just try to waste your ammo on him, it's kind of a waste of time because he can easily just pick up your head and literally squeeze your skull until it cracks. And that's pretty painful and pretty excruciating trying to get around this guy. So you have to kind of like have your own kind of strategy to it and kind of like look on your map. You have to pause and look on your map and see how to go to another room and try to get around him, or just wait until he leaves to another room or whatever. But make sure he's not chasing you, because if he does chase you, he'll never stop chasing you, of course. But yeah, this guy is very intimidating, so don't take this guy very lightly. Do not underestimate his strength. I recommend you guys don't waste your ammo on this guy, or don't try to fight him, period. Just kind of just run away from him. And that's how to handle Mr. X whenever you first encounter him. So the hardcore mode in Resident Evil 2 Remake is really hard, and it goes back to the classic ink ribbons and with no auto-saving. So the only time you can actually save in this game is if you actually have the ink ribbons. And if you run out of ink ribbons, well, you can't save. And you would have to like start back to where your last save was. And that can be pretty frustrating, but it's also fun frustration, if you know what I mean. And yeah, that can be pretty fun. So I recommend you guys go back and play this game on hardcore difficulty. If you are a classic Resident Evil fan and you really love the puzzle solving and all that stuff and just finding clues and stuff like that, you are gonna love the hardcore mode in this because it is brutal, it is really hard, it is really challenging, but so rewarding at the same time. So yeah, I recommend it for sure. This is definitely classic puzzle solving, conserving your ammo, not wasting your ammo, constantly searching for keys, opening different doors, and unlocking secret weapons, getting all this extra bonus stuff, going through different optional doors and stuff like that. This is classic Resident Evil, and it definitely surpasses the original hands down. I love the original game. It's a classic, but this game surpasses it in every single way. It does nothing but improve the game entirely. Yeah, this is just a phenomenal game. If you haven't got your hands on it at this point in time, you definitely need to do so, even though it's pretty irrelevant to talk about right now. Yeah, I love this game, and I cannot wait to see what Capcom does next with Nemesis. Come on, give us the third game, Resident Evil 3 Nemesis. I still have it on the GameCube, but man, that would be a great remake if they ever, decide to do that. I definitely heard rumors that Capcom is doing that, so hopefully that does happen. And yes, throughout the rest of the game, the big tyrant Mr. X will show up whenever he wants to, out of nowhere, and track you down. He will bust through doors, he will bust down through walls, he will break through walls, and find every sort of way to find you. Like, any way he can. There's nothing stopping this guy, so yeah. It gets under my skin every time. Every time I encounter him, whenever I'm going to my next objective, he's always there. Like, this guy never stops chasing you down. And it was a really fun way to put the player in the really best possible uncomfortable situation and panicking situation ever. And it's up to the player to figure out how to maneuver around him and, go, just kind of make a shortcut and just kind of just trick him. And just kind of just trick him into thinking that you're going into a certain direction, but you're actually kind of, reload. Yeah, I definitely love how it's very dark. It's a very dark game where you have your flashlight throughout most of the game that you have to use. And a lot of people found that to be a little bit of an issue, but not for me. I thought it was just fine. I thought visually you could see what was going on just fine. And it just made the atmosphere more scary and just more horrifying and very uncomfortable to play. And that's the kind of feeling that I love to have in video games when it comes to survival horror. And I love horror just in general, and so this is no exception to that. It's amazing. I love the voice acting. I love the controls. They're very solid. It's very fun. It's just the gameplay, the story, the voice acting, the characters. Everything about this game works, and it's incredible. I love it. It's amazing. Man, I can go on for hours about this game, but I'm not going to do that because time consuming. So yeah, love it. Love this game. So I'm going to give Resident Evil 2 Remake an A. I decided to stick with leather grades for video games as well, just to be a little bit different from any other viewer out there. So yeah, what did you guys think of Resident Evil 2 Remake? I understand that it's really irrelevant to play and to talk about, but it's a really fun game to play still, and I recommend you at least check it out. What did you guys think? I would love to know. Never leave you guys hanging in the comment section. I will be sure to read all of your comments. Yeah, so until next time, everybody, take it easy, guys, and take care, everyone.